This video is about calculate and compare simple interest and compound interest. We have defined the vocabulary words we need to learn, such as loan, principal, the principal amount, interest rate, time in years, total balance, annually means yearly, and of course the formula for simple interest and the formula for compound interest. Let's talk about the first practice. Calculate the interest earned after 5 years on a $3,500 deposit that earns 8.5% simple annual interest. 5 years will stand for the T, or the time in years. The $3,500 deposit is the principal amount, and your 8.5% will be the interest rate, or R. First step is for you to write the formula for the simple interest. Step 2 is substitute. So the principal is 3,500 times the R, or rate, is 0.085 in decimal, and the time, which is time in years, is the 5. So multiply all this, which is principal times rate times time. Use your calculator. Remember that you have to put in the correct data so you will have the correct answer. Now, after doing principal times rate times time, this is now the interest earned, okay? And you have to make sure you have to go back to the question, what are they really looking for? Is it really just the interest or balance? In this case, they just want the interest, therefore this is our final answer. But if it's a balance, it's going to be another step. Now, in this situation, we use the simple interest formula, and that is principal times rate times the time in years. And the question is asking for an interest. So if you are using simple interest formula and they're asking for the interest, therefore this is going to be your final answer. But there are situations wherein the problem is going to ask you to use simple interest formula, which is principal times rate times time, but then at the end they're going to ask for the balance. Okay, so what are you going to do is add this interest plus the principal, which is this one, and you're going to have your total balance, and which they call A for balance. Okay, now let's have another example. Calculate the account balance and interest earned on a $2,800 deposit into an account that earns 2.5% compound interest, compounded annually for 3 years. Circle important information. Remember that the rate that is given in percent, 2.5%, should be written in decimal, okay? So to change this 2.5% into decimal, move the decimal point twice to the left. So it's going to be 0.025 for the rate. Step 1, write down the formula for the compound interest. Then substitute. Substitute P, or principal amount, with 2,800. Then substitute the rate with the 2.5%, the decimal form of that, which is going to be 0.025. Then to get that little box for our exponent, then click the symbol on your calculator. Then enter the time in years. Then hit enter. After using a compound interest formula, your final answer will have both principal and interests together. So you have to go back to the problem and double check whether they're looking for just the interests or the total balance, which will be this one. But if it's just the interest, then you have to do another step. Let's look at the problem again. If they just want the compound interest, then we have our final answer, meaning that is the balance that they want. So let's just say the problem is asking for just the interest, and not the total balance, okay? Because when you use the compound interest, just like what I said earlier, it's going to be giving you the balance, because the balance or the compound interest includes both principal and that interest. So you'll have an answer if that is your balance you're looking for. But what about if it's just the interest they want to use or to have for an answer? But then you had to use the compound interest at the beginning because it was in a compound interest. So you're going to go ahead and take out the principal from your answer from getting that compound interest, okay? And taking out the principal meaning you have to subtract it from what you got from your compound interest formula. Therefore, after subtracting the principal amount from the total balance of $3,015 and 29 cents, the interest left will be $215 and 29 cents. So this is the extra step you have to do if you use a compound interest and they just want the interest only at the end, okay? Therefore, you subtract the principal from what you got from the compound interest formula, and you'll just get the interest. Okay? If they just want the balance, okay, or the compound interest, then this will be your final answer earlier, because you don't have to do extra steps there. Mr. Jenkins deposited $4,120 into an account. He made no additional deposits or withdrawals. Mr. Jenkins earned 3.75% annual simple interest. What was the balance in dollars and cents in Mr. Jenkins' account at the end of 5 years? Make a note of all the important information after reading 2 times or more. Don't forget to turn that percentage into a decimal form. Take note of the ones you need to look for or calculate for. Simple interest, and they want the balance at the end. The balance, the word balance, that's your A. If you forgot the formula for simple interest, always look at your reference material chart that I gave you. Next step is substitute. The principal is the $4,120 times the rate times the time. After clicking the enter on your calculator, the interest is $772.50. And this is just the simple interest, meaning it doesn't include the principal. But look at your problem. They want the balance, meaning you have to add this interest back to your principal. So you will have your total balance. So now you're able to answer the question on the problem. They want the balance. What was the balance in dollars and cents? Therefore, after adding the principal and that interest you got, now you have the balance here. $4,892.50. Now, part of our test in STAR test will be about estimating the cost of 2-year and 4-year college education, including family contribution. So this is our next topic. Be prepared to take down notes. Here's the first example. The total cost of attending a state university is $21,500 for the first year. The grandparent will pay half of the cost. The scholarship will pay another $2,500. Which amount is closest to the minimum that the student will need to save every month in order to pay off the remaining cost at the end of 12 months? The total cost of the tuition fee is $21,500. Take note of this. And this is just for the first year. Then take note of the important information, like the grandparent will pay half of this. You have to know that half means divide by 2. Now, the scholarship will also pay a portion of your tuition fee, which is in this case is 2,500. So what you have to do with that is subtract it from whatever you got from dividing by 2 earlier. Now pay attention to the question. They want the amount that's closest to the minimum that the student will need to save every month. So whatever you got after subtracting the scholarship, you have to divide it by 12 months in order to find out what's that cost that the student need to save every month in 1 month. Now that we have read the problem 2 times or 3 times or more, and we've already listed down all the important information, let's do step 1. Step 2, subtract the scholarship. So the student will need to pay $8,250 for the first year, but we need to find out how much the student is going to save for 1 month. And that will be our final answer because that is the question. So the last step would be divide what we got by 12 months. So the student will have to save $687.50 every month in order to pay off that $8,250 for the first year. Okay, good luck on your homework, and I'll see you in class. And don't forget to practice. Bye!